Title: The Weight of the Swarm. I remember the day they all turned against me, the air thick with laughter that sliced deeper than any blade. It was a family gathering, the kind where we'd all come together under the pretense of love, but it quickly devolved into a slaughter of my aspirations. I stood at the head of the table, trembling with excitement as I shared my latest findings about the connection between urban pest infestations and paranormal phenomena. I expected support, or at least a modicum of curiosity. Instead, I was met with a chorus of jeers. "Haunted bugs? Really, Alex? You've lost your mind," my brother Jason scoffed. The others nodded, eyes gleaming with cruel amusement. What next? Mapping the curse of cockroaches? I felt my face burn, the kind of humiliation that burrows deep into your soul. My mother's gaze, usually a warm embrace, was now a cold stare filled with disappointment. "You need to focus on something real, something that matters," she said, shaking her head as if I were a lost cause. They didn't understand. They couldn't. My obsession was my salvation after the disgrace I suffered at the luxury hotel, where a false report had turned my career into ash. Years passed in solitude, filled with the whispers of the very pests I pursued. I became a paranormal entomologist, a title that raised eyebrows and earned me the label of a madman. But I didn't care. I delved deeper into the darkness, exploring urban infestations that others dismissed as mere coincidence. I documented cases of bizarre insect-driven possessions, people overtaken by swarms, their bodies becoming vessels for something far more sinister. Then, one fateful night, I stumbled upon a truth so horrifying it turned my very perception of reality inside out. In the depths of a derelict building, I discovered a colony of locusts, their bodies pulsating with a strange, malevolent energy. They were the carriers of a plague, a contagion that didn't just infest the body, but invaded the mind, twisting it into something unrecognizable. I barely escaped with my life, but I emerged with knowledge that could no longer be ignored. Years of ridicule transformed into a chilling recognition of my work. I became a voice of warning, an expert in the supernatural aspects of pestology. My findings were published, my lectures attended by those who once laughed at me. I was no longer a disgrace. I was a harbinger of the horrors lurking in the shadows. But as I achieved success, the weight of my experiences hung heavily around my neck, a crown of thorns from which I could never escape. And now, standing before my childhood home, I felt the familiar sting of betrayal, mixed with the bittersweet taste of vindication. I had returned, not as the mockable outcast, but as a figure cloaked in dread and knowledge. My family had invited me for a reunion, perhaps hoping to reconcile, but they had no idea of the darkness that followed me. As I stepped inside, the house felt stifling, memories of laughter echoing in the corners, but it was marred by an unsettling silence. They were all there, my parents, my siblings, their spouses and children. I could see them steal glances at me, their expressions a mix of curiosity and apprehension. They had heard the whispers of my work, the rumors of what I had faced. "Alex, you look different," my mother said, her voice wavering. "Yeah, a little less insane," Jason added, forcing a laugh that died in his throat when he met my gaze. I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. "You have no idea how much I've changed," I replied, feeling the weight of my truth pressing against my chest. As the evening wore on, I shared stories of my findings, the laughter that once echoed through these walls now replaced by an uncomfortable tension. I could see them squirm as I recounted the horrors I had witnessed, bodies contorted in unnatural ways, eyes glossed over with a vacant stare, all because of a swarm of locusts that had invaded their minds. They listened, rapt yet horrified, as I painted vivid pictures of my discoveries. But the true test came when I revealed what I had brought with me. I reached into my bag and pulled out a small glass container, the contents writhing and squirming, a colony of those very locusts, kept alive by the energy that had infused them with a darkness I could scarcely comprehend. "Do you want to see?" I asked, my voice low and steady. They recoiled, eyes wide with terror. "What the hell, Alex? You can't bring those here." My father's voice trembled with